Welcome to Biztechasia Investors Conversation Show. Now, our guest today is Christopher Lee, CEO of ShareInvestor Group out of Singapore. ShareInvestor Group is a financial, internet media, and technology company that owns one of the largest investor relations networks in Asia. Now, the company provides market data tools and financial applications to institutional as well as retail investors. Now, to tell us more, welcome to the show, Chris.
Hi, good morning, Brian. Thank you very much for having me on your show.
Chris, for a start, tell us a little bit about ShareInvestor and its history, because it's got a very rich history. It's very well established in Singapore.
Thank you for your kind words. ShareInvestor, we started actually way back during the dot-com heydays. That was probably about 22 years ago. And we started with a very simple belief that the internet will radically change the way investors is going to assess information and make an investment decision. So we have a vision actually to use technology to empower investors to make an informed choice. So that's how we started way back. And at that point in time, the internet was still a relatively new thing compared to what it is today. And we consciously positioned ourselves as a technology media company to serve corporate clients as well as retail clients. So our customers base today can be broadly divided into first the corporate clients that we serve and the retail investors.
Okay, tell us a little bit more. Let's drill down into that. So your corporate clients is your B2B business and your retail is your B2C business. So how do you serve each of these segments?
Okay, now you're right to say that we can divide our business into two, right? And the B2B segment, that's where we provide investor relations services to public listed companies in the region. Currently, we serve more than 600 public listed companies in ASEAN, and we help our customers craft a comprehensive strategic communication plan. Now, in this case, it will include their online presence, dissemination of information to targeted investors base, and even physical engagement with investors and analysts. And a lot of this are actually facilitated by technologies. That's how we differentiate ourselves. Now, for the B2C segment, that is where we serve more than 200,000 investors, and they are the ones that come to our online properties, right, every month to take a look at information that can help them make informed investment decisions.
Okay, so I want to zoom in then on first your B2C business, your retail side of the business. What is the profile of that 200,000 investors, retail subscribers that go and visit your websites?
Okay, I would say a typical profile of an investors that visit us will probably be somebody in their 40s. Chances is that it will be a male looking at investing in the ASEAN market, or for that matter, the Hong Kong or US market. That is why our market data tool services, we provide information across 7 major markets.
Okay, and then how about the your investor relations services? Which countries do you provide these services?
Yes, we started the investor relations and market data services right here in Singapore, and then we expanded, very carefully into the region, especially after the dot-com burst. And the first country that we participated in was in Malaysia, way back in 2001, I believe. And that is where, we had the privilege to even work with Bursa Malaysia. And they use our technology and white label the Bursa Station, which is a product that is still being used by thousands of subscribers even up to today. So Malaysia was our first expansion, and then followed by Thailand in the year 2006. And that's where, our corporate services, in this case, the investor relations services, we expanded into Thailand, right? And subsequently in 2017, we also expanded into Indonesia. But there was actually quite a significant break between 2006 and 2017. Part of the reason is because we became part of the Singapore Press Holding Group when they bought us out in the year 2008, just before the global financial crisis. So during that period of time, we were doing a lot of consolidation, rationalization, and even expansion. We made strategic investment in public relations companies, social media company. So that is why today, our footprint, we have a very strong presence in Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, and we are offering services which can be broadly classified into investor relations, market data, and investors education in this country that we operate. Okay?
Let's drill down a little bit in terms of your Share Investor platform and how it helps your customers. And starting with retail, what sort of tools do you provide the retail investor in order to then that makes it worthwhile for them to subscribe to your services?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Brian, because in today's environment, you probably will notice that information is quite readily available, over the internet. So actually over at Share Investor, we have to work very hard to really differentiate our product and services. Now, that is why our subscribers will be able to get information that they could not easily get over the internet. Maybe let me just share about our two key products that we offer to our subscribers and what are some of the key features in there, right? Our market data tool product can be divided into Share Investor Web Pro and Share Investor Station. Now, Share Investor Web Pro is more affordably priced and is more for the general retail investor who need a quick glimpse of fundamental data and simple charting tools. And SI Station or Share Investor Station is positioned more for the investing savvy users who may need both fundamental as well as technical information to do their analysis in a real-time setting. So key differentiator is segmentization of their needs. Both has got charting and fundamentals, but the real-time nature and the more analytical tools that we incorporate in SI Station is probably how we differentiate the two products. Now, then the next question will be, how are you going to differentiate against the rest of the service providers over the internet that give it to users for free? Now, that is why we have our own proprietary tools, such as volume distribution chart and code movement information, and even consensus estimate, right, to differentiate our product so that our subscribers will pay us a fee to access this information. And it's very important for us to position ourselves and say, as an investors, what do they need? So I myself being an investor, right, I know what investors will need and why would they pay for such information. So the ability to understand the investors and their need is key in enhancing our product to cater to all our subscribers. So hopefully that gives you a glimpse of our product and how it differentiates. Maybe just to give a very quick glimpse of one of the products that differentiate ourselves from other service provider, volume distribution chart. Now, you as an investor, wouldn't you like to know whether for this particular stock, are the funds buying it over a period of time, or the price movements is due to retail participation? Because to a retail investor, that information is very important, right? So our volume distribution chart will be able to tell our subscribers and say, hey, if you monitor over the last 5-10 days, hey, whether the funds are buying up or the funds are selling it down. So as a retail investors, you want to follow the big money. That's how we position, our product, and that's how we educate our users also, right? So we have lots of this kind of differentiator tool to help our investors make informed decisions in the market.
And Chris, one of the key things I would look at, just being a neutral observer looking in, is the fact that because you've got well over 20 years of knowledge in terms of engaging with your customers, obviously you know the needs better than, say, a company that's come out in a fintech, perhaps that's come out in the last year or two, because you've grown with your subscribers, you understand what their needs are. They've probably given you, and you have a feedback loop of introducing products based on needs.
Yeah, I hope I can say that. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you something on the institutional side then. Drill down a little bit in terms of how you help them from an investor relations standpoint.
Okay. When we talk about institution, I think I would rather term this as a corporate, because when I mention institution, we do have institution clients, and these are the ones that actually are the brokers, the financial institutions, or for that matter, the educators that need to target our base. So I term them as institution. When you mentioned the corporate clients, I believe you're referring to the public listed company, right?
That's right.
Right. Okay. So for us, the public listed company, once they're listed, they want to focus actually on their business, right? And to run it well and be champion in their respective industry. But the fact that they are listed require them to be conscious about their engagement and relationship with their stakeholders. In this case, their shareholders as well. So they would want to make sure that there is a very comprehensive strategy when it comes to investors' engagement. So that's where we position ourselves and said, hey, technology can play a huge difference, and this is what we can provide to you. Now, first thing first, which is your website is actually your window to the global investing community. Get it right. So we provide consulting in that space, and once they are agreeable to the display of information, what kind of information they put up there, we ensure that all the informations are up there. And this basically reflects the investment merit of that company. Now, the daily share price update, if they have any announcements with the exchanges, all this are automated, so that they don't have to worry about, hey, I've just filed with Bursa Malaysia or SGX. Do I have to put it up the website? Is it pre-announcement now? All those, we are the technology people. We got it all sorted out for them. But that's just one aspect when it comes to digital investor relations. Of course, there will be dissemination. So what if you get all your good stuff put into the website, but nobody reads it, right? So the ability to get all this information disseminated to the right audience, that's where we come into the picture to help them with the dissemination. Right? Now, last but not least, there will be opportunities for them to engage investors on a consistent basis, besides their annual AGM, which is required by the exchange. So regular investors engagement or engagement with analysts is a very important element when it comes to your investors communication. So that's where we help them to plan and to facilitate the engagement with the mass affluence and the retail investing community. Now, that's what we help the public listed company with, not just in Singapore, but across the whole region.
So in other words, then there's an element of PR in this element, which is the physical, non-digital part, as you then help them to message better to the investing community.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But when we first started off some 20 years ago, our focus was primarily leveraging on the technology platform. So we did quite a bit of the website piece and the dissemination piece. Now, as we grow, that's where we noticed that our client needed a one-stop service offering. So that is why back in 2014, we make a strategic acquisition into one of the PR firms so that we can offer both online and offline investors services to our public listed client here in Singapore, right? Although the strategy may differ across different markets because of our relations with our partners in some of the market we operate, like for example in Thailand, our partner is actually a public relations company. The partnership or the model may differ slightly, but our core service offering remains the same. That can be broadly classified into the three segments.
You're an over 20-year-old company. How has your ShareInvestor subscriber profile changed over the years?
I think, what we saw is that investors over the years have gotten more savvy, not just only from the IT perspective, but also from the way they look at investing. So therefore, way back when we first started, we noticed our investors are probably focused in their respective local market. Say, for example, the Singapore investors will look at the Singapore market, Malaysian investors will look at the Malaysian market. But that has changed quite dramatically over the last, I would say, at least 10 years or so, because investors cannot get access to information readily over the internet. So the kind of excitement and the kind of volatility that you can see from markets such as Hong Kong and US does excite the local investors here in Singapore and in Malaysia as well. So therefore, the investor profile tends to have changed, and they are a bit more receptive to investing, not just in their respective market, right, local market, but they are now, investing across the border, right? That is why our upcoming Invest Fair, the theme for the Invest Fair is investing in this borderless era. So investors over the years have changed, and that's the reason why our product has to go along with time, and our product now encompasses 7 major markets, so that our subscribers can look at the options of investing, whether in the US, in Australia, or for that matter, in Hong Kong, beside their local markets.
Now, Chris, I want to zoom in on what you just mentioned, your upcoming Invest Fair that will be held in Singapore on the 27th of August. Share with us what an audience should or visitor can expect at this fair.
Okay. The Invest Fair is something that is very close to heart. We started way back in 2007. It has been an annual investor event, physical event, until COVID came about. So we took a 2 years break, and now we are very happy that we are able to organize a physical event this coming 27th of August over at Suntec Convention Center. So we have put together a very exciting and fun-filled, program for participants, and we have got some 28 speakers that will be presenting at the Invest Fair, and they are going to share their views of what is the market outlook for the next 12 months.
May I ask then, who are some of your headline speakers for this event?
Okay, I'm happy to have David Kuo, the founder of Smart Investor, who will be joining my show as a keynote speaker. I've got good partners like Paul Chiu, the head of research from Philips Security, will be there as well. So, and we have got 2 panel discussion to help our investors navigate how to invest in this uncertain time, right? And one panel will be comprising of local industry veterans sharing their views, investing in uncertain time. And the other panel is more focused on index investing, because sometimes it's difficult for investors to say, pick a particular stock in a particular market. So is it possible that I want to just pick a basket of goods, and what are some of the options available in the various markets? So therefore, we have 2 panel discussions that focus on stock picking in that sense, right? And index investing.
Now, what are you targeting in terms of audience segments for this show?
Okay, I think it will be, anybody who wants to learn how to invest in the market, especially in this, very uncertain time with so many different new parameters, challenging, right? Us, ranging from inflation to interest rate to war. So I think, whether you're a novice investor or you're a seasoned investors, you probably will benefit from the event if you come and listen and interact with the speakers to get a balanced view, so that you can then make an informed investment decision. Investing is evergreen to me. Whether there are challenges or pandemics or disruption in the industry, there will be opportunities. So the important thing is to be able to decipher all this, screen out all the noise, and then look at the investment opportunities, and more importantly, map it against your risk and reward return. Because for us, right, we are of a certain vintage. So therefore, our investing, I would say, requirement, or risk reward may be very different from somebody that probably just starting out to work, right? So I think it's an event for everybody who wants to learn about investing, so that they can gain financial independence as early as possible.
And Chris, I as you've been explaining this,
right,
my thought goes towards how the investor profile for an average investor globally has become younger and younger. So I would think that if I'm a grandparent and I want to take my late teenage grandchildren or grandchildren who are in university, or I have children in university, I should be bringing them along for this show.
I hope to see a family gathering, in the Invest Fair. Yeah, thanks for that advice. Maybe I should position the message like what you've just said.
Chris, it's been a lovely, informative show. But before we leave, any final thoughts you'd like to leave our audience with?
I hope that investors, will be able to learn, whether during our Invest Fair or in any form of education session as they navigate their investment journey. I advise investors to start investing early so that you can look forward to your financial independence as early as possible. And I wish all listeners all the best. Yeah.
Now, thank you very much, Chris, for coming on.
Thank you, Brian, for the time.
Now, we've been speaking to Christopher Lee, CEO of ShareInvestor Group. I'm Brian Fernandez, and you've been listening to Biztech's Investor Conversation Show. This interview will be on our website, www.biztech.asia, as well as our social media platforms. It will also be on our syndication partners, TV stations, radio stations, as well as websites. And that includes shareinvestor.com.my. Thanks for tuning in.